Imagine this. Your wife of years, the mother of your kids, sneaking off to cheap motels with another man while you're working hard to build a family. Most people would crumble. But me? I decided to take every piece of their perfect little world and burn it down. And let me tell you, karma was ruthless. If you've ever been betrayed, if you've ever wanted justice served hot, then you're in the right place. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and buckle up. Because this is one of the most savage revenge stories you'll ever hear. Back in the early 2000s, I started noticing cracks in my marriage. My wife and I had two little kids, 4 and 6 years old. Young enough to be innocent, but old enough to spill little truths when you weren't looking for them. They'd casually mention that they'd been spending whole days at their grandparents' house. At first, it didn't sound strange. But here's the catch. Their grandparents lived nearly 90 minutes away. And my wife was claiming this happened 2 to 3 times a week. That was basically every single day she wasn't working her part-time job. Something didn't add up. I confronted her once. Asked her casually why she was driving so far so often. She denied it. But the thing is, she was never a good liar. Her voice cracked. Her eyes darted. My gut screamed at me. She's hiding something. So I started tracking the mileage on her car. And sure enough, week after week, she was clocking an extra 400 miles. That wasn't random. That was systematic. That was betrayal. Then one day, fate handed me the truth on a silver platter. I sat down at the family computer, and there it was, a sticky note, her AOL password scribbled right next to the keyboard. It was almost too easy. My heart pounded, my hands shook, but I logged in. And what I found confirmed everything. There were emails between my wife and her college best friend. And in them, clear as day, she bragged about regularly sleeping with one of her ex-boyfriends from high school. She didn't even bother hiding the details. She mocked the man's wife for getting fat after having kids. She laughed about sneaking around. I remember staring at the screen, my chest burning, my fists clenched. My world was shattering, but one thought began to form. I won't be my parents. Both my mom and dad had cheated on each other when I was young, and the fallout destroyed my childhood. I swore I would never let my kids go through that same chaos. So I started planning. First, I printed those emails. Cold, hard proof. Then I called a buddy of mine who was a cop. He pointed me toward a retired detective turned private investigator. Let's call him Ron. I hired Ron, gave him everything I had, and he went to work. What he brought back made my blood boil. Photos, dates, times, locations. The pattern was always the same. She'd drop the kids at her parents', meet this guy for lunch, then head straight to a dumpy motel for hours. Afterward, she'd pick the kids back up like nothing had happened. And the man? His name was Bob. Married. 3 kids of his own. And get this, he was vice president of sales at his father-in-law's business. Oh, the irony. At that point, my choice was clear, divorce. I hired a lawyer, armed with Ron's report. But deep inside, I wasn't satisfied yet. I didn't just want out. I wanted justice. I had Ron make extra copies of his report. On the same day my wife was served divorce papers at her job, humiliating her publicly, I had Ron deliver another copy to Bob's wife. This woman, let's just say, deserved the truth. She deserved to know her husband wasn't the man he pretended to be. And that's when the real fireworks began. Bob's wife went nuclear. According to court records and public documents, she cleaned out their joint account, grabbed the kids, and left him instantly. When her father, the same man who owned the company Bob worked at, found out, Bob was fired. Just like that, the VP title vanished. And since his in-laws also owned the house they lived in, Bob was evicted. Homeless. Jobless. Wife gone. Kids gone. But it didn't stop there. Their divorce turned ugly. Vicious court battles, screaming matches, even physical fights. One incident got so heated that his brother-in-law broke Bob's nose. Police reports. Restraining orders. Criminal charges. Jail time. His shiny, suburban life crumbled into dust. And me? I walked away clean. My divorce was straightforward. The infidelity didn't change much legally, but emotionally, I had closure. I focused on my kids, made sure they grew up safe, and I never once dragged them into the mud. As for Bob, last I checked, he vanished. No social media, no trace. Rumors said he left the state. His ex-wife, though, she thrived. She started working at her father's company, eventually took over when he retired, and raised her kids in peace. Meanwhile, my kids are now grown, living their own lives. I co-parented civilly until they were adults, and once that obligation ended, my ex-wife and I stopped talking altogether. I don't hate her, but she's nothing to me now except the mother of my children. And honestly, that's enough. So let's recap. Bob lost his marriage, his kids, his job, his home, his dignity, and even his reputation. All because he thought he could sneak around with someone else's wife. My wife. She lost me. And me? I walked away with peace of mind, knowing karma had done my dirty work. Here's the thing. Cheating doesn't just break hearts. It destroys families, futures, entire lives. You play with fire, you get burned. And in this story, the fire consumed everything they thought they had. If this story gave you chills, smash that like button. Drop a comment with the most satisfying revenge you've ever seen. And don't forget to subscribe for more jaw-dropping stories of betrayal, justice, and sweet, sweet revenge.